what's good, everybody? It's Rob, back with another video. I'm going to do a year in review, but while I'm doing it, I got a couple of errands to run. So we can sit here and talk about what happened in 2018, what we could possibly expect in 2019. So first off, the flagship year always starts with a strong showing from Samsung. Last year, Samsung, probably out of all the major companies in that does work in the U.S., was probably had the best year. Over, even though Apple sells massive amount of phones and they're a $1 trillion company, Samsung, from a smartphone perspective, in my opinion, had a very good year, and argumentatively a better year than Apple. Now, Apple, they bread and butter themselves based on software updates, and they have been hitting a rough patch when it comes to software updates. So hopefully Apple can get that straightened out. But first, let's get a little organized. Let's start with Samsung and the S9 and the S9 Plus, which set the tone for most of the year. Now, the cool thing about the S9 and S9 Plus, it seems like Samsung tend to put out very solid built phones. They have a signature look, which is Samsung, which is a great thing. Every company should have a signature look, and Samsung does a good job with it. They tend to solve their lag problem, offering more RAM. They may have fixed a lot of previous issues that they done had in the past. And with Samsung setting the tone for the year, it pretty much made, I think, put a lot of other companies on notice. So one of the cool things that the S9 and S9 Plus did was bring us a lot more bells and whistles. An improved camera. You had a uniquely designed phone with smaller bezels, and it kind of gave you a window into what we were getting in the Note. And let's talk Huawei. Huawei, Chinese manufacturer who's having problems getting into the United States. Well, they're going to continue to have more problems. And if you possibly own a Huawei phone, there's a chance it could get blacklisted. So that kind of sucks. In a lot of ways, I don't understand the relationship that Huawei, the problem that they're having with the U.S. government, whether it's legitimately a security issue, or is it from a business aspect being masked behind a security issue? So there's a lot of problems with Huawei, even though without the United States market, it is the third largest producers and manufacturer of cell phones. So with that in mind, Huawei, let's hope they can get their act together. Maybe the U.S. government and the company can come to some type of conclusion on how to fix this issue, but we'll see. And the Huawei issues also bleeded over into the T-Mobile Sprint merger. Now, whether a lot of people know it or not, Sprint uses a lot of Huawei equipment to build out their 4G network. And one of the things that's holding up the merger is the fact that Sprint needs to remove Huawei's equipment from their 4G network and replace all of that. And once that's done, I think the merger might actually get pushed through a little faster. I don't know if the promise of removing it is enough for the U.S. government, but Sprint is in the process of getting that stuff removed from their 4G network and replaced. So yeah, the Huawei issue has really bled over, and made it a major story in 2018. Next up, LG. LG signature feature for their phone is their DAC. But with companies removing headphones, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, is it still an issue? Is it still a feature that you need to base your phone on? Because if Samsung removes the headphone jack, you got iPhone removing the headphone jack, that's a very large portion of the buying public that will be actually forgetting about the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. LG is going to have to find something else to hang their hats on other than that DAC in a little while, because a majority of everybody is going to be moved over to Bluetooth, possibly Type-C headphone jacks on the bottom of all headphones. And it may not be a selling feature for LG. It's bad enough that LG, the G7 was somewhat of a bland phone, even though it was a good phone. It was a high quality phone, but it was a phone that never caught the public's eye. Same with the V40. It never quite caught the public's eye. It's one of those diamond in the rough type of phones where everyday people may not know about it unless you were very budget minded and you caught the phone on a great sale. You know, that tends to be the only way LG can get some love, is maybe coming in so low that it makes it a viable option when it comes to consumers buying their phones. So if you're out there shopping around for a Samsung, or you might be ready to switch over to an iPhone, and you walk into a carrier store and you notice they got a V40 over there for $300, $400 less or cheaper than the flagship phone I was thinking about getting. And that's pretty much the only way how LG can get some love. And then if you happen to get yourself into a customer's hand, you got to hit it out the park with something. And like I said, most people don't know about headphones. They're not audiophiles. Your average consumer is not audiophile, so it's kind of hard to sell you on that feature. Most people are very, very easily impressed by frilly options or extras on a phone, like the emoji on the Apple, and maybe the display of a Samsung. Those type of things are easy to sell people on. And LG, you need to have something frilly and somewhat a non-techie type feature, you know, because techie people, we can appreciate an LG phone, but everyday people just don't see the value in it. So let's finish up this. Well, let's get partway through the review of 2018. So I left off on the previous segment talking about LG, and I want to pick up talking about what OnePlus 6 did. Now, OnePlus 6 hit 2 home runs. If you think that's possible for a company to do that, they did. The OnePlus 6 was a pretty great phone. Now, I got my notes right here so I can help me stay focused with you guys. But the OnePlus 6 hit 2 home runs. And the one thing that helped them become more successful as a company is the fact that they give you just the raw speed and the closest thing to a stock Android. And for them, that's a successful formula. It's worked out for them. They really haven't tried to go overboard. They used a tagline as a way to sell the phone, always talking about the speed and how more fluid oxygen is in comparison to a point where it's even better than stock Android. It all depends on who you talk to, though. But I kind of I'm beginning to like the OnePlus as my stock phone, even though it has a slight little skin over it, does have some slight theming on it, what have you. But when the OnePlus 6T came out, they gave us something new, and that was an in-display fingerprint sensor. Now, don't get me wrong, first generation, any type of innovation is going to be a little slow, possibly buggy, or give you some kind of problems. But I appreciate the effort, a good effort, a solid effort, an effort that's in the right direction of innovation. And that's what OnePlus 6T did. So with the in-display fingerprint display sensor, to me that was nothing but a big thumbs up for me. The Next, the Vivo Next, I can't remember the actual phone. There were other phones out there that had a fingerprint display in the display, but it was just the OnePlus 6 that had a much more mass appeal in the States. They hooked up with a carrier. So in a lot of people's eyes, nobody's going to remember the other guys who did it. They're always going to look at the OnePlus 6 as the first company to do an in-display fingerprint sensor. And whether that's fair or not, it is what it is. Now, one of the things though, here's that double-edged sword with OnePlus. Whether they decided to join up with T-Mobile was a good thing or was it a bad thing? It all depends on who you ask. If you're the kind of person who likes the fact that OnePlus constantly give you timely updates, them joining with a carrier is going to hinder that. You're not going to get timely updates. So take that as a half full, half empty type of situation. But if you're going to get a OnePlus 6, it's probably better that you do go with the unlocked version, because the carrier, you do have some problems with updates. But at the same time, you do get the support of a carrier if something was to happen to the phone, something more of a defect or anything like that. You're more able to get the phone issues addressed faster than having to deal with OnePlus 6 and mailing it back, whereas you can go to your local T-Mobile carrier and flip the phone, exchange the phone for a phone that's not broken. So, like I said, it's a half cup, half full, half empty situation. So whether you like the fact that they're with T-Mobile, you still can get the phone unlocked and at the same price. But T-Mobile did give out some very good sales. OnePlus was one of the most memorable phones of 2018. Now, let's talk about the Pixel. The Pixel, to me, for some reason, Google missed the plate on this. It's kind of hard to talk about it. I didn't pick it up. I didn't pick up a Pixel. So in a lot of ways, I really can't hark on what I like and what I do like. But at the same time, I can read. And a lot of things that I read about the Pixel wasn't good. And then on top of that, looking at the phone, seeing the phone, I mean, I wish they could have came out with, don't get me wrong, the Night Shot is a great innovation, but at the same time, I don't know if that's a techie innovation or a mainstream innovation. You guys tell me about the Pixel. Leave that down below. What do you think? Do you think the Night Shot is a mainstream innovation or a techie innovation? The one thing I can say about Pixel and Google is they are advertising the fact that their phone does have a Night Shot, so they are pushing that innovation into the mainstream. So I can give them their due. They did something good. It is what it is. Pat them on the back. They did good. They are trying to push it. But to me, I still think it's a techie innovation, because when you think of a Pixel, the first thing you're not going to think about is a Night Shot. You're going to think about it as a standard Google phone. So the Pixel itself, to me was kind of gave me the same blah feeling as the LG V40. It's just a solid phone. It's a phone that you have to learn to like the looks of it. Not a very attractive phone, built the same materials, but they did give you wireless charging, and they did give you a little bit of waterproofing, and that's pretty good. I mean, that's a nice step forward for Google, but I really would like a much more better designed phone coming in 2019. but the way Google closed out the year, it was so. It almost, I mean, if you had a Pixel 2, you weren't missing nothing with the Pixel 3. And also, let's talk about Apple. Even though I kind of mentioned Apple earlier, Apple, in a lot of ways, is still having some of the same issues from last year. And it's software. There's a lot of times where their software updates are very timely and very needed. And then there are times where their software updates can wreak havoc on people who have Apple devices. The last Apple update that came this month is pretty much wreaking havoc with a lot of people connectivity, data connectivity, and phone connectivity based on the date of this video coming out. So if you're looking at this video maybe a few months down the road, please realize the date that you're looking at this video in. Also, shortchanging people. A lot of people might feel that you were shortchanged on the XR with the display, but at the same time, Apple is very good at hiding its limitations on displays better than other companies. They're the only company who can make a 720 or 828 display look better than another company's 720 display. So in a lot of ways, do you cut Apple that slack? Should they have put a 1080p on the iPhone XR? But I'm getting ready to go out of town on a trip, so I'm gonna next time you see me, I'm gonna give you the conclusion of my review in 2018 at my vacation destination. So I'll holler at you guys in one quick second. So in conclusion, 2018 was a pretty good year. I didn't go into detail with a lot of phones like the Pogo phone, some of the gaming phones that was out, and a few other mid-level phones that made an impact in 2018, or else the video would have went on for another 10 minutes. But anyhow, that's my review of 2018. I'm on my vacation right now. I appreciate you guys for supporting me all this year. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll holler at you guys in the next video. Peace.